U.S. President Barack Obama has been seeking support from Congress for military action against the Syrian government in the wake of what the U.S. says it has proof was a chemical weapons attack on civilians in the Syrian capital.
And we're joined now by VOA National Correspondent Jim Malone. Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure.
We've seen a lot of partisan bickering during the Obama presidency. How likely is it that Congress will approve a strike? And what do you think will happen if the lawmakers say no?
Well, this is a very difficult sort of task for the Obama administration to get congressional approval. It surprised some members of Congress that he even went this way. He said he's already decided he wants to take action, but at the last minute he decided to go through Congress. If they say no, and we really don't know which way this is going to go at the current time, the president's already indicated that he believes he does not need Congress's say-so to proceed. But obviously he wants it. So they're reserving, it seems to me, the option of going ahead even if Congress does say no.
And Jim, you talk about it being a surprise that the president would seek congressional approval for this. You know, recent U.S. presidents going back to 1950 typically have not asked for congressional approval for this type of action. What's different in this case?
You're right. I mean, we haven't actually declared war as a country since the 1940s. And so this particular case, I think, speaks to the fact that the president is well aware of public opinion polls and the fact that in the United States right now there's just no interest in getting military involved in another country in the Middle East. The country is war weary after Afghanistan and Iraq and believes that even the promise of limited airstrikes or cruise missile strikes still somehow might suck the United States into another conflict. So he's got a big job here to sell, but one of the reasons he may want to do this is looking at the example in Britain where Parliament said no to Prime Minister Cameron. He believes maybe it's in his best interest to try to get the United States Congress on board, and with the Congress, hopefully the American people as well.
But what is going on within the Congress? What's sort of the back and forth we're
There's
seeing?
some fascinating cross currents right now for both parties. There are liberal Democrats who remember the Iraq war buildup. They were dismayed and felt betrayed when the so-called weapons of mass destruction never materialized, so they're skeptical of supporting the president on this. On the Republican side, an interesting development is sort of a non-interventionist libertarian wing of the party led by people like Rand Paul and Ted Cruz from Texas is developing. So there's a split in the Republican Party which traditionally is more open to military action.
And all of this is happening without UN backing. What do you think the role of other countries are?
Well, right now, a lot of the members of Congress, as they weigh this, are noticing that the UN seems to be shying away from a lead role on this. They don't want to take action. France seems to be interested in going ahead with the United States, but Britain has had to back off because of domestic political issues there, related, in fact, to the Iraq war. So right now, the president realizes it's kind of the U.S. going it alone, and he's got to make the case not only to the American people, but to the rest of the world.
And some analysts even say that a limited military strike, like what we're talking about here, won't even be effective. What's sort of the White House line on that?
Right, and we're seeing administration officials grilled on that very subject in hearings before Congress. What are you trying to do if it's limited in nature? They're promising no American boots on the ground because they want to get that congressional approval. But I think the administration's response is, what do we do when we believe chemical weapons have been used? Can the United States remain silent? Can we do nothing? They're trying to pose that question in response.
VOA National Correspondent Jim Malone, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.